Nobody told me getting my real estate license would be the easy part. Passed the exam, I got the jacket with the kind of collar that says, "Hey, I sell houses." And then I waited for the phone to ring and waited and waited. It did not ring. What they don't teach you about in the real estate courses is what happens after you pass them. And that's exactly what this video is about. If you are brand new to the industry or you've been at it for a few months or years and you're wondering if you've made a huge mistake, you are in the right place. So let's get into it. Quick housekeeping note. My name is Ben Robitaille. I am a realtor. And I've been at this long enough to have made quite a few mistakes. And I've restarted my career in 2 different markets, so I've definitely learned some things along the way. My hope is that you can learn from my mistakes so that you don't have to make them. This video is specifically for new agents or people in their first 1 to 2 years that feel like everyone else has some kind of secret playbook they didn't get. And spoiler alert, there is a playbook, and I'm going to walk you through some of the highlights right now. We're going to cover mindset, your first 30 days, how to actually prospect without wanting to cry, and how to handle objections when someone tells you, "Oh, we're just looking." They're never just looking, but we'll get there. The mindset shift nobody warns you about. Here's the thing about real estate that will make or break you in year 1. You are not an employee. You're a business owner who happens to have a brokerage address. Nobody's going to tell you to show up. Nobody's going to give you leads. Nobody's going to schedule your week. And that is terrifying, but it is also the greatest gift and greatest opportunity that you will ever have. I see new agents making one of 2 mistakes. The first is waiting for their broker to hand them something, waiting to feel ready, waiting for the market to calm down, heat up, make up its mind. The market does not care if you're ready. The market is chaotic and confusing, and it's been that way since someone traded a cow for a hut back in 3000 BC. The second mistake, and I've definitely been guilty of this and can still be guilty of it to this day, is doing everything except for the one thing that actually makes you money, which is talking to people. I'll come back to this. The mindset shift is this: treat yourself like a client. Would you let a client wander around aimlessly with no plan, no timeline, and no accountability? No. You build a strategy. Do the same thing for yourself. Write down 3 things you need to accomplish every single day, not a list of 47 things. 3. Show up for those 3 things like your business depends on it, because at the end of the day, it does. Maybe grab a coffee first, but this is absolutely a marathon and not a sprint, but it does help if you're awake for it. So your first 30 days, what to actually do. Okay, you've got your license, you've picked a brokerage, now what? Week 1, tell every single person you know, and I mean everyone. Your mom, your dentist receptionist, post on social media, text your college roommate that you haven't talked to in 4 years. People can't refer business to you if they don't know what you do. I know it feels awkward. Awkwardness is temporary, and I really think embarrassment is really an underexplored emotion that we should strive to feel more. Go ahead, jump outside your comfort zone and reach out to people and let them know what you do. Week number 2, learn your market, drive neighborhoods, go to open houses, not to sell, but just to see. You can actually book appointments and mark that they're a broker walkthrough and just say you're going to preview the property for a client. Now, I think it's a nicer gesture to target houses that are vacant for this, but you want to get a good idea of what houses are out there. What are they listed at versus what are they selling for? What do they actually look like when you walk in? Because data on a screen is very different from standing in a kitchen that smells like it hasn't been renovated since 1987. Week 3 and 4 is time to get your systems in place. No, I'm talking CRM. That's a customer relationship manager. It's basically, at its core, a fancy spreadsheet that keeps track of everyone you know, their contact information, and when you last talked to them. Free ones exist, and oftentimes brokerages will provide them to you at no extra cost. Within these 2 weeks, it's also time to set up a basic follow-up routine. When someone gives you their contact information, what happens next? If your answer is, "Oh, I'll probably text them eventually," it's not a system. That is hope, and hope is not a strategy. At the end of 4 weeks, you should have a contact list with at least 50 people who know you're in real estate, a basic CRM set up, and at least 1 conversation booked, whether that's a buyer consult, listing presentation, or just coffee with someone who might know someone. 1 conversation. That's the bar. You can clear that bar, I promise you. In fact, 7 years later, I'm still applying this to my own business. April, I try to have coffee with as many people as I can, whether that's colleagues, past clients, business partners, strategic alliances, that kind of thing. Face-to-face conversations, I think, are the most underutilized and undervalued form of prospecting for business that there is in this industry. Next, let's talk about prospecting without having an existential crisis. Now, if you hear the word prospecting and throw up in your mouth a little bit, you're not alone. Same thing happens over here. When you break it down, is just talking to people about real estate. That's it. You're not cold calling strangers at 7 a.m. asking if they want to sell their house. Well, I mean, some people do it, and if it works for you, Godspeed. But for most of us, prospecting starts much, much closer to home. Your sphere of influence, or, the people who already know you, is the most valuable asset you have right now. This stat is crazy. 43% of buyers and 37% of sellers, according to the National Association of Realtors, find their agent through a referral from a friend or family member. That's almost half of buyers. More than a third of sellers are getting their agent from a referral. Your people that you already know, who know you do real estate, who you deliver value to, are going to be, without a doubt, your best source of business. And there are a lot of ways to generate business in this industry, but I promise you that is going to be your least anxiety-inducing avenue, because it's people you already know talking about things that you should know about as a real estate agent. So the goal here is to stay top of mind for these people without being annoying. And yes, there is a line there. If you've ever received an email from a realtor or sent one of these, that's a mass email just saying, hey, just checking in, knowing anyone looking to buy or sell. That's the line. Don't cross that line, please. Instead, add value. Sure, share a market update. It's important for people to know what's going on in their neighborhoods. Something I like to do, because the time that people actually spend looking and buying and selling real estate is relatively small throughout the window of their life, is let them know what's going on in the community. What are some cool events that they could go check out? Maybe they've got young families and they want to go to the Maple Syrup Festival on the weekend. Let them know what's going on and get involved in the community, because people seeing you out and about at these events is going to keep you top of mind beyond just showing up in their inbox once a month. Be the person who knows things. The best prospecting really doesn't feel like prospecting at all. It feels like being genuinely helpful. If your goal is to help as many people as possible and make their lives easier, I promise you the business will come. How often you should be doing this? Well, every single day sounds daunting, but why don't we break it down to 5 days a week? If you're working Monday to Friday, those 5 days, you're going to prospect every single day, but you're not going to do it all day, because that is unhinged and really dives into hustle culture, which I don't love. 30 minutes of focused outreach compounds over time. That's 2.5 hours a week. If you do that every single week, not only is it sustainable, you will start to collect data on what kind of prospecting actually works for you, for your community, and your sphere of influence. That's a pipeline. That's a business. Now I want to move into objections, the stuff they don't teach you. New agents, and myself included, are terrified of objections. Someone says, oh, we're already working with another agent, and everything they suddenly learned flies out the window, and they say, oh, totally fine, have a great day. Stop doing that. Objections are not rejections. They are questions in disguise, and the sooner you can understand that, the sooner you can stop treating every single no like a personal attack on your character. Trust me, I'm a Cancer. I have a lot of feelings. I lived in this space for a very long time, and I'm still actively training myself to come out of it. Here are 3 objections you will hear constantly in year 1. One is, we're not ready yet. The translation for this is, we haven't really been given a reason to move yet. Your job is to find out what ready looks like for them. You could ask something like, what would need to happen for you to feel ready? And then listen. Actually listen. Yes, part of our job as realtors is to educate, but I think first and foremost, we need to understand. Understand where our client is in their process. Understand what's important to them and actually listen and process that. Another objection you'll hear quite often is, oh, we're going to use our friend who's a realtor. Completely valid. Respect it. but you can still say something like, that makes total sense. If for any reason that changes, or you have friends who need help, I'd love to be your go-to resource. Plant the seed, move on. Don't be weird about it. It's kind of like dating. You're not going to force someone to be your partner. That's weird and borderline, no, straight up illegal. Show your value, show why you're worth being with, and attract people to want to be with you, or in this case, work with you. A third objection that you will get all the time is, can you lower your commission? A classic. And here's the thing. It is important that you know your value before you walk into a room. If you immediately cave, you've told them exactly what you think your services are worth. Instead, explain what you actually do. Walk them through your process. Make the value visible before the number even comes up. If there's any non-realtors watching this, from the outside looking into real estate, you see the percentage that agents charge for commission. And a lot of people go, wow, you must make a lot of money. But where I'm located, over half the agents registered with our board did not do a single transaction in 2025. Beyond that, about a third did between 1 and 5 transactions. So take that percentage and let's multiply it by 5. Now, from that percentage, you're giving away a portion to your brokerage. You've got to put portions aside for taxes. You've got expenses because listing photos, video, and marketing for your properties aren't free. And I'm not saying we're not well paid for what we do, but we do bring a lot of value. So make sure that when you're going into those appointments, you know what your value is. And if you have to write it down ahead of time, do it, because communicating that value is very, very important when discussing compensation. You are not asking for a favor when you charge your rate. You are running a business, so act like it. So we've covered a lot in this video. Mindset, your first 30 days, prospecting, objections. This is really the foundation of the industry as a whole, the stuff that actually moves the needle forward before you've even closed your first deal. Now, I could keep going, and honestly, I have more to say about every single one of these topics. But I don't want to overwhelm you in one sitting, because the goal isn't to know everything right off the bat. The goal is to start in the right direction. If you want to go deeper, I'm building a community for agents who actively want to build something in the real estate industry. And right now it is completely free. There's no catch. You sign up, you're part of the community. We do weekly calls. We meet, we figure out where you're at, where you want to go, and get you pointed in the right direction. I'll drop the link in the description of this video. Check it out, introduce yourself, and tell me you found it from this video. I want to know who's watching. If you're watching this and you're a new agent, or if you're a couple years in and you feel like you're plateauing, this community is for you too. We're all figuring this out together. Real estate is not a solo sport, even though it can feel that way a lot of the time. Find your people. I know I'd like to be one of them. This is your ultimate starter guide. Let me give you the 5-second version before you go. Treat yourself like a business. Build your contact list immediately. Prospect every day, even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it. Handle objections with curiosity, not panic, and know your value. If this was helpful, hit subscribe. I put out content like this every week for agents who want to actually grow. Drop a comment with the biggest question you have as a new agent, and I'll answer it. I'll read every single one. And if you take nothing else from this, you picked a hard career that most people quit in year 1. The fact that you're here, watching this, trying to learn, that's already more than most. Keep going. Now go call somebody, email someone, text someone, and I'll see you in the next video.